So, you're thinking about starting up your own little microgreens operation. And you're wondering how much it's going to cost, what do I have to do, what's it take to do it. And I've gone through a little bit of work here for you guys, and I've put together, I wouldn't call it a course, don't confuse it with a course, but I put together a blog post, I guess you could call it, of just what it's going to take to do that. This is entirely free, okay? This is just what I've been showing you guys all along, just kind of condensed into a simple version of A to B, how to get going, how to start making sales. And if you don't want to watch this video, you don't have to. You can go straight to my website. I put this right on my business website for Microgreens, and it's on there for anybody, my customers, for anybody to see, of how to grow your own microgreens and how to make a business out of it, how to get started. So let's jump in. My first off, let me just say my website is brabantfarms.com, and you're gonna click the menu and go to grow your own. I'm gonna put the website link up on the screen here. You can't click that, but it's there, and then I'll also put it in the description. And you know, definitely go check it out, print it off if you want. I'm still tweaking some things a little bit to improve it, but let's get started. This is a little bit lengthy, so you can see here, I'll show you, you know, what I printed it off because I want to actually follow it through in this video to show you, you know, so it makes sense to what I actually wrote up. But you can see here, it's there's a little bit to it. So my videos and stuff are linked in there. All right, so to start right off, I put, because it's on my business website, you know, I talk right about, you know, it might seem weird I put this on there, you know, I'm telling people how to start their business and be competitors with me. And the truth is, I'm not worried about that. Let there be competitors. I would enjoy that, and the more the merrier, you know, and the more people growing their own food and growing local food they can sell, the better for everybody. So it's out there for everybody to see, you know. So the first thing I talk about is that you can do this for less than $1,000. I think you can do it for less than $500. Get started, and that's really what this is directed to: is how to get started. You know, what's it going to take to just get going, and that's the most important thing, is to get going. If you don't start, you're never gonna like do anything. I don't care what it is. You need to get started. So, preparation. First thing you're going to need is you're going to need a spot. You know, if you're going to do this inside, you're going to need a spot within your home that has a clean floor, something that's easy to clean up, an area with some outlets, water easily accessible. You want it to be clean, like you don't want pets hanging out there. You don't want cats, you know, sleeping with your microgreens or whatever. In my case, I've gone a little bit further, and I've actually built an entire room. And I've used panda plastic, is what it's called. It's black on one side, white on the other, and the whole room is lined in that. And it's a very sterile feeling environment, and that's what you want if you're growing food. You know, you want it to be clean. So that's what you're gonna want to do to get set up. Next thing you're gonna want racks. So in the blog post here, I recommend racks like mine. These are HDX racks. They're from Home Depot. They were $50 each. You can put 3 trays per shelf. They're kind of tight, but they do fit. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 shelves you can use. So 4 times 3, you can grow 12 trays on a rack. And I recommend you get 2 racks. And there's a reason for that. The reason is staggering your growth. As you get going and you make your first growth, maybe you're only going to use 1 shelf on a rack, is what I'm actually suggesting you do. And but as you get going, you're going to have product that's needs to be growing for a few more days before it's harvested, but you also have product that's being uncovered and needs to get under the light. And so you're going to have that overlap, and you want to have the space to be able to do that. I use the final top rack as a spot for the microgreens that I have stacked that are germinating, and so that works out great for that. Lights. I've covered this in my videos in the past. I'm recommending you just go get some regular cheap shop lights, T8, 6500K fluorescent bulbs. They're not the most efficient out there, you know, compared to like an LED or maybe a T5 high output, but they work, and they work really well, and they're really inexpensive. So if you want to just get started, go get yourself some shop lights. I have links in here for almost everything I talk about, and use those, because they're guaranteed to do what you need them to do. And then if you want to get more expensive lights later on, go ahead, but start off cheap. You know, you don't even know if this is going to work out for you. You don't know if you're going to like it. So don't go spending a bunch of money you don't need to spend. Trays. I put a link in here to some inexpensive trays from Amazon. In the future, you're going to want trays that have holes with them and ones without holes, and you know, you can stack them the way I stack them, and that's so you can underwater. But to start out, you don't have to do that. Again, I'm trying to show you like the most inexpensive way to get going here. So there's 3 crops I'm going to be recommending that you get started with, and none of those have to be bottom watered. So to start out, don't bother with needing, you know, holes and no holes. Just no holes. You're only going to be top watering to start out, and then if you want, you can buy trays with holes in them later, or you can even just drill holes in the ones you have. So that's all going to work out for you. Seeds. So as you've heard me say a million times, I recommend True Leaf Market. They work for me. I like their seeds. I haven't been buying them from the places, so I don't really have a big like comparison for where else you would get them. There are some other companies that are highly recommended. Kitazawa, I don't know if I say that right, but I see them come up a lot. Johnny's, everyone heard of Johnny's. In Canada, I believe people are using Mums a lot. I don't know about other countries and stuff, but I like True Leaf Market for the United States. So what I'm going to recommend you get is get yourself a pound of radish, and I would get the like a China rose radish or something similar to that. And let's see, I'm looking at the sheet here. Sorry if I'm looking away from the camera, but trying to get the exact prices here. A pound of radish seed that's China rose is $10 for the pound. I suggest you get 5 pounds of Thomas Laxton peas for pea shoots, and those are only $16 for 5 pounds. That's why you're not going to bother with a pound. It doesn't even make sense for something like a big seed like that. And then the other thing is 5 pounds of sunflower seed, black oil sunflower seed, $36 for 5 pounds. Don't buy less than, even if you don't go with what I recommend, don't buy less than $35 worth, because if you do, you pay shipping. $35 is so cheap. So, you know, if you do the $35, the shipping's free. Makes tons of sense. Don't go getting a pound, $10 worth, and then paying, I don't know, $5 in shipping or whatever it would be. Soil. You can use any soil. Literally, any soil will work for microgreens. Some work better than others, though. I highly recommend you get a soil that is very fluffy, you know, and I screen my soil when I buy it. It's something I started doing this summer, and I would never go back to not doing it. You want a lot of perlite in that soil, and having a good amount of cocoa coir is also pretty helpful. And there's reasons for that. One of them is that the cocoa coir is great for drainage, and so it allows like the top layer of the soil to dry and still stay moist at the bottom, so that you don't get mold problems. And the perlite also will hold water for you without the soil being wet, so that your greens don't dry out and you can water really heavily, especially when you first plant and you're stacking these. It prevents mold and it works great. So go get yourself a good soil. Excuse me. You can use something like a Miracle Grow or something, and I have in the past, and you've seen that in my videos, and it works, you know, in a pinch. If you need soil, it's like, oh crap, I got to plant today, and I don't feel like driving a half hour to Home Depot, in my case. The hardware store has some, you know, Miracle Grow, and they're 5 minutes away or something, then yeah, you can use it. But the thing with Miracle Grow that I found is that it holds moisture too much, It's designed for that. That's what they want it to do, is really just retain the moisture. And I want my soil to dry out. I want to have to water my microgreens almost every day. That evaporation, everything, it's all part of the whole key of how this, you keep mold down, you don't get dampen off problems, and you get a nice healthy product. So try to go with my recommendations on the soil there. If you can use organic, even better. Fans, you're going to want fans. I always shut them off when I make my video because I don't want you to have to hear the fans, but you need constant airflow, and the more airflow the better. Basically as much as you can get without bending your greens over. I mean, you want good airflow. You can use a simple oscillating fan, and I give a link to a simple one you can get, inexpensive oscillating fan. Works great. You know, they oscillate. And so then there's some optional equipment you can get. But they're optional for now, but I highly recommend them in the future, and you really kind of need them in the future. But for just starting, save yourself a couple bucks. Dehumidifier. I love my dehumidifier. I bought it when I came in this year to start growing inside this year from being in the Microgreens Palace you guys have seen, and it has just made so much of a difference. I never have wet greens anymore. It doesn't matter if it's a really humid day and it's raining out a lot. Your greens are always nice and dry. You can water them in the morning and you can harvest them at night, and the dehumidifier makes all the difference. I have mine set to, I think it's 50% humidity, and it works great. A utility sink is gonna make your life so much easier. I have a video where I installed the utility sink, and wasn't a really exciting video, but showed you what I was doing, and I love it. It's like it's right over here in front of me. You can't see it, but I actually find that because the sink is right there, sometimes I don't even use my garden hose to water. I'll actually grab a tray and just water it from the faucet rather than dragging the hose around. Either one is easy, but the biggest thing with that utility sink, and one of the reasons I had to have it, is that last winter I was going outside and using the hose spigot, because you can't use a hose because it's going to freeze in my area, and being out there in 20-degree weather or colder and washing and sanitizing my trays. And I didn't like that. You know, that was not fun. This year, not a problem. I've got my sink, and I can wash those trays right here. I would like a sink probably twice that size, the one I got, and that'd be great, but hey, this is definitely better. The other thing you're going to want is a dedicated refrigerator. To start out, you don't have to do that. Like I said, you don't know if it's going to work, so don't go buying a refrigerator or a walk-in cooler, which is even better, and you can build your own. But you could start off by, if you're only growing, you know, 12 2-ounce clamshells worth a week or whatever to start out, you should be able to probably dedicate a spot in your home refrigerator to keep that stuff nice and cold. Just make sure it's already packaged up. Don't go putting it in your fridge all loose. You want to keep your stuff clean, and you don't want it getting contaminated by anything that's already in your refrigerator. I don't know how clean your refrigerator is or is not, but make sure they're in clamshells, make sure they're clean, and dedicate a spot for them. Don't put them too close to like where the cold air comes in, because that can freeze them. So dedicated refrigerator or a walk-in cooler, even better. That's another optional thing you're going to want in the future. After that, you know, I cover there's some videos I linked to in here that you guys have, some of you've already seen, but I show how to grow them, like how to plant them. I go through how I grow my pea shoots, which is different than most people. I don't soak my pea shoots. I don't even soak my sunflower anymore. I just don't have a need to. It works without it. You know, I talk about, you know, how to plant microgreens in general. There's a video in there. It just shows how to do different planting, how to water them. This video in particular is about how I do the underwatering with stack trays, but you still kind of, it's a good video. Get the idea. Then I have a harvesting video in here that shows about the process I go through when I harvest. I still haven't upgraded to a knife like some people do, and there's also all kinds of other things people can do with the greens harvester that, you know, Curtis Stone is always talking about, things like that. I'm using scissors right now. whatever. But the whole idea of how I go about harvesting, packaging, weighing, don't think I covered the labeling in here. Then I talk about the first planting and how I'm recommending that you only do, I think it was 3 trays to start off with. So I think you should plant 1 tray of radish, 1 tray of peas, and 1 tray of sunflower. And after you know, 5-6 days or so of those being stacked and unstacked after that, you can get started and plant maybe double that production, maybe triple that, in hopes that when you get your first 3 trays and you deliver those as samples, hopefully people are going to be asking for stuff. And at that point you want to be like, yeah, I've already got so much ready to go. And then you can kind of scale up from there. But just don't grow a whole lot and be stuck with it. Unless you're fine with eating it or giving it away to friends or whatever, go ahead and grow as much as you want. But for the bare minimum to start out, go with those 3 trays. Now you've got 3 good products. When you go to chefs or whatever, some of them will maybe be impressed with the sunflower shoots. A lot of, or even general public, a lot of people have never heard of eating a sunflower shoot. Before doing all this microgreen stuff, I hadn't heard of it. So, you know, you're gonna want these for samples. You're gonna want to go to these restaurants and just give them away and say, here's a full 2-ounce package, or maybe a 2-ounce package of each of them, and just say, take these, use them. I'm not gonna teach you the entire sales thing. I'm not a salesman. I just kind of introduce my product and let it sell itself. But that's what you're gonna want to do, is give them the samples, give them enough they can really use, you know, and see the value in. And then you're gonna want to go back, because these restaurants, a lot of times, they're not gonna call you back. They're busy. They loved your product, but they forgot about it. They just, it's not really their focus. So you're gonna want to go back. You're gonna want to ask them, how was it? Would they like to place an order? And then maybe even go back a 3rd time. And on the 3rd time, if they're still not buying, maybe you give up on that restaurant and you go somewhere else. And yeah, that's kind of how it goes. Same thing with stores. You know, you can target some like local stores, ones that you know sell a lot of local products. I'm in the Northeast United States, and around here country stores are really popular, and some of them really don't grow, but carry a lot of local product. And a lot of the local product is like high quality stuff. I mean, you get some local smoked bacon, or there's a big smoking company around here that's local, but they've gotten big, and their stuff is in a lot of these stores, and it's great stuff. There's local produce. You know, so far every country store I've been into is super welcoming. They want your product. You know, when I've gone into stores, I've had people say, I'm already sold just because of your package. You know, they're used to getting stuff in like a bag and it's not even labeled and everything, and they see my nice clamshells and it's labeled and it's stamped with the harvest date and it's really a nice package, and they say, we want that. You know, let's make a deal today, and we'll take it today. Doesn't always go that way, but in the past for me it has. I cover the second planting, but I've already kind of explained that a little bit, that, you know, you're going to want to up your amount of planting, but you're going to want to plant before you're ready to harvest. I'm not going to get into the whole scheduling for you guys. You can find all that material on YouTube already, and you can find it in my videos. But that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, I hope that you found this informational and informative, and that please go check it out on my blog, on my website. You know, I put myself out there. Felt like it was kind of weird putting it on my business site, but honestly, nobody uses my business site. I'm a local company. You can't really order from my site as it is. I have a few products listed on there of how much they are, but I'm more gonna kind of direct that site towards like sort of informational type stuff and helping out. And it does display my customers' photos, which is great. And if they ever do stumble upon my site, then they'll see their photos of their product and or their plates, and I'm sure that'll make them happy. But yeah, go check it out, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this. Please like, subscribe. If you really like the work I did on this blog post, you could consider becoming a patron. at patreon.com/Corey's Cave. I'll put that link down there too. Any amount that you want to, you know, become a supporter of mine is fine. I don't have rewards up there or anything like that at the moment of making this video. That could change. But yeah, that's just up there for anybody that enjoys this. All right, thanks guys. Have a nice night.